That's our intro. Can we please do Thick of It? I'll even sing it. From the screen to the ring to the pen to the game. Where's my crown? There you go.
I think that is a phenomenal way of starting our episode, Dangerous Faith. Nate Williams with Blake and Mariah. Small crew today, but that'll be just fine. So, Blake, you started us off with a classic of a song. Do you want to tell our audience more about it?
Thick of It. I don't want to give him credit though, because he's already got Prime. Everybody knows Thick. If you've been online, you know the song "Thick of It" by KSI. It's trash. It's so bad.
But you were crushing the chorus. Do you want to do that again?
Yeah, because it's one of those songs where it's like you just get stuck in your head whenever you listen to it. I mean, it's catchy, but it's just so cringy.
There's so many songs that are catchy. That,
Like any of Taylor Swift's songs.
It seems like oftentimes the worse the song, the catchier it is.
For real. Like
what's the science behind that?
Whereas let's take a symphony. You go and you listen to an orchestra. Amazing. The most talented people you'll ever just get the joy of being able to listen to. But when you come away, there aren't these basic, simple melodies to latch onto necessarily. So it's an experience. It's beautiful. But compared to Blake's favorite artist, KSI, who's a YouTuber, by the way, came out with a new song that is not good at all, but it just gets stuck in your head.
Yeah. I think it's because humans like simplicity. It's simple, it's repetitive,
Patterns,
and it's
people-
easy
humans
to
like
remember.
patterns.
Yeah. You're not going to remember an orchestra, but you'll remember, I'm in the thick of it.
Pop music has latched onto that psychology, and there's almost a science behind melodies.
Yeah.
Certain notes, certain chord progressions. But anyways, all right, we are getting off topic just a
That's
little
on
bit.
topic because Kanye produces music.
Oh, hey, I like that.
Yeah.
The actual topic for today, and the Dangerous Life team with me, again, Blake and Mariah, they're going to help me talk about is Kanye West. For those of you who, let's say, haven't kept up with him, I don't blame you. But we have our Kanye expert, Mariah, with us, who loves all things Kanye, including every single thing he said. Right, Mariah?
Yeah.
I don't know about every single thing. Those are questionable.
And then afterwards, we're going to talk about Christianity and celebrity. What do we do with celebrity conversions? What do we do with their stories? Do we support them? Do we wait? Are we cautious? How do we respond when really famous people become Christians, or at least they say they are? We'll get to that in a moment. But Mariah, paint a broad picture for us. Your favorite person in the universe, Kanye West. All right. Tell us a little bit more.
So Kanye, he's a writer, producer, now I guess adult filmmaker in some aspects. So he has a wide variety of things he's into, and he's been doing it since the late 90s. But he's probably one of the most controversial rappers, while being the most influential rappers of this like era, I'd say. And most people in the rap community would probably agree.
Favorite Kanye song?
Easy.
Do you have, okay, Blake?
Gold Digger.
Gold Digger. All right. Mariah, any thoughts there?
That's a classic. I'll say that. Mine would probably be,
I kind of put you on the spot, didn't I?
yeah, I love so many of his. I Wonder is one of my, I like that one. It's called I Wonder, by him. I really like, I'll say my favorite album is I Hate Being Bipolar. It's awesome. That's his, like, one of his big albums. That's one of my favorite, probably. That's his real, like, lyrical, like, deeper album, I guess.
Doesn't he have a song called Black Skinhead? Am I wrong?
You might be right.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones too. I really like that one.
I have no idea.
I would
what it's
hope
about.
that is a song that it's
I'll
pretty
fact
good.
check.
Yeah, it's fact check it.
We have
Black
our-
Skinhead,
Fact checker right here.
or what is it actually called? I know the song, but I don't know what the title
It's called
is.
that, yeah.
Black
you're
Skinhead. Yeah,
correct.
it's really good. I like that song.
I think for me, I have to say Heartless. One of his
You listen to Kanye?
classics. I don't listen to him much.
What?
But just a
You
couple
listen to
songs.
Kanye?
Why? Why?
Because you're Asian. He hates Asians.
What?
So
Never heard that.
he's also he's come out as anti-Semitic as well.
Yeah.
But
It's a
anyways,
double whammy. to you.
anyways, there was a Kanye before the craziness.
Right.
So I think that was my favorite song. But
I'm just kidding to everyone. I don't think he actually hates Asians.
Bound to and Ghost Town. Those are my two favorites.
Mariah, all right. He married someone pretty famous, didn't he?
The first wife? Or the new one?
Do we talk about Kim? Kim K? Kimmy K? Kim Cutie K? Kim full of plastic Kardashian?
All right. So, yes, he married Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
He got divorced, and then he married a Kim lookalike, and then he's divorcing her. Do you know if that divorce is final yet or if he's in the process?
I don't know. Last stories I was looking, maybe still ongoing. I really don't know. But
And then also...
Hang on. Wasn't she she had something to do with Yeezys, right? Wasn't she
like a brand or like a model maybe? I know she was like...
I thought she created them.
I don't know. But
well, obviously, I mean, Kanye, it's Kanye's brand. He created, but I thought she was like the one over.
Of the main.
Which I always thought was like, was there something ongoing before?
Regardless.
Yeah.
And then he has said he wants to start now an adult film company.
Roll Tide.
And no.
Okay, don't roll Tide on that one.
We do not roll Tide on that one. Okay, Mariah, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's just interesting because a few years ago he came out with a gospel album and like Follow Jesus, all the Father Stretch My Hands, all those songs.
Mariah, I was going to circle back to that. So you might be thinking in the midst of all this, creating music, various relationship issues, and then future career paths he is interested in taking, you might be surprised to learn that at one point he identified as a Christian. He came out with a Christian album. I thought it was pretty good. Did you listen to his Christian album?
I'm not into Christian rap, so...
But it's not really Christian rap. There's some gospel elements. I would say give a couple of the songs a listen.
I'll give a couple of songs. I remember when he did come out with that, I didn't even believe that Kanye was actually Christian. I thought he was more so capitalizing on the marketability of it. So I wasn't even going to give it a listen. But I'll give it a listen.
Yeah, listen to a couple songs. Some of them are pretty decent. I'm not going to say all of them are great, but several of them I actually kind of like, and they're catchy and decent.
Right.
He went on a tour where I guess they would visit different venues or different churches, and they had this Sunday performance kind of deal, sharing the gospel. But eventually, I guess he became disillusioned and he left the faith, if he ever was a Christian. And he said the reason why was he prayed to Jesus, and he said Jesus didn't answer his prayers, and he kind of had to make things happen on his own. And so now he's moved into the whole realm of he is his own God, blah, 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 the rest of it, all that stuff. So all this is to say, when we think of celebrities becoming Christians, how should we respond to that? Think of, there's also Russell Brand. He's become a Christian, and there are others, they're famous conversions. What do we do? How do we respond? What do y'all think? Kanye, Russell Brand, where do we go from here?
I think it depends on kind of like the actions that follow that. So that's a claim made, and we don't know these people personally, but maybe by their action, like Russell Brand, I know has been on some, I think maybe Christian commentary podcast lately, or definitely he's been speaking pretty prevalent about his like faith now and stuff, and it's although he has had definitely a shaky and controversial past also, but then you have people like Kanye, who the actions kind of now is not really portraying like there's no fruits, I guess you could say, or it's not portraying what a Christian should be like, but also it's like who are we to tell what they're really like, I guess.
Right.
Gotcha. So kind of see what happens, but also recognize that we don't know them personally.
Yeah.
Okay. Blake, what are your thoughts? A famous celebrity says, I am now a Christian. What is your response?
It's kind of like Mariah. I just watch and wait and see what they do with it. Because my hope is if they actually have converted, they'll actually share more about Jesus. They'll use their money because they have a lot of money. And I hope they would use that money instead of hoarding more of it up, that they would begin to, shelve it out to the, like certain charities or what, not even charity work. They would begin to impact the world as a Christian should. And mostly what I look for is how often do they spread the gospel at this point? Like, because they are an influencer, they're claiming Christianity. So I want to see how much they're going to talk about Jesus. And then I also look at what churches do they go to, because the church you go to can actually tell a lot about your belief in a way, in my opinion. Like, for instance, Justin Bieber, he was one of those that famously converted, but he went to Elevation with Stephen Furtick. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, if he's listening to Stephen Furtick, not saying Stephen Furtick, we all know how Stephen Furtick can be. I don't want to speak too harshly on him, but you just have to be, you have to be aware of just like, what are they doing as they claim to be Christians? And, is it something that, I guess as Christians, we have to be careful not to lift them up higher, not to put them in the same spot as Jesus, because now they believe in Jesus. Now we have to cling to every word that they say, because Donald Trump claims to be a Christian. And I've heard some of the stuff that's come out of his mouth, and I'm like, that is so against the Bible. Like, that is so against the gospel. Not to make anybody mad if you're a Republican, but it's just, we put people, when we hear Christian and we have Christian values, and then we hear a celebrity that's converted, we put them on a pedestal, like with Jesus. And I'm like, we have to be careful about that, because they're growing in their faith as well. I understand they're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes just like we do. But we shouldn't be so quick to just associate them as like, this is the cream of the crop Christianity. Like, we have this famous Christian, and then everybody flocks to them. And then just like with Kanye, everybody was like, hey, Kanye, he's Christian, die. And now look at him. And now it's like now everybody was like, this is so great. Kanye's so great. And now that he's back to doing that, now it gives fuel for the other side to be like, well, see, Christians are crazy and bipolar. So.
And that, speaks to just different, with specifically Kanye. You do recognize there are some mental issues there. He's just done and said certain things that you're like, a normal person in their right mind would not do or say. And so in addition to everything we've talked about, that we hope that eventually he gets the proper help that he needs as he continues on doing Kanye things. But anyways, I think you both bring up great points. I go for cautious optimism. Cautious, I don't fully embrace someone because you don't know if there are ulterior motives. What if they're trying to sell something? What if, whether it's movies or music, there are millions of Christians in the country, and if you can tap into that market, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a part of me that's like, all right, let's be cautious. However, then there's the optimistic side that I also want to take people at their word, that they found something,
right,
that hopefully Jesus is changing their life. And so until they give me reason to not believe them, I am cautiously optimistic that celebrity conversion, whoever it is real. And then we start to wait for the fruit. One thing that frustrates me is when new celebrity Christian converts immediately want to become leaders. This can happen with anyone, because charismatic people get put to the front of the line. If you have money, if you're famous, if you look attractive in front of a camera, they want to put you forward. But I think what I would hope, whether it's Kanye or Russell Brand, what happened to discipleship, mentorship through the years? Instead of Kanye right away being seen as this Christian public figure, what about meeting privately with a good pastor over coffee, talking about the basics? What about, I always use this as the example, behind the scenes, sweeping floors, folding chairs, helping out with events, where nobody knows you, right, or just you're away, because for some people they have a very recognizable face, but you know what I mean, away from the spotlight. What frustrates me sometimes is people convert and they want to automatically lead. They'll start a ministry or do all these other things, and I'm like, hold on now, you barely know the basics. Right. Just chill, learn, and grow. I have an example of a good friend who, he was a newer believer and just very charismatic, very smart. He immediately entered leadership positions, and he quickly got burnt out because the spiritual development wasn't there. He was good with people and he was very gifted, but the theology, the Bible, the apologetics, the basics were not planted yet. And he got burnt out, and eventually he left the faith, which was very hard to hear, and walking with him through different aspects of that. But I guess if on y'all's end, if you were talking to a Kanye, Russell Brand, whoever, and they're just new believers, they've given their life to Christ, what advice would you give them entering this new life?
Like, that's the same advice that you told me, is to be patient and to grow in it. I remember when I first really started taking my faith seriously, and I don't know if anybody on the podcast or any of your listeners know, but I went from not being involved in church to now 2 years, jump forward to now present day. I'm now 1/3 of a youth pastor, because we have 3 youth pastors on the third of the youth pastor. So kind of a little bit confusing for those, but it works at our church.
He serves on a team of 3 people over our youth group.
Yeah, best way to explain it. But when I first started, I didn't just jump directly in to serving. What me and Nate kind of walked through, and it's good. That would be my advice: is to find someone who is, when you're a new believer, who has been a part of the faith for, I'd say, maybe 2 or 3 years plus. I wouldn't necessarily say 1 year. I'd really say 3 years plus. Find someone who's been in the faith for a while and go under their wing, and don't just anybody. Like, trust them, build a relationship first, and if you can trust them, take them under, let them mentor you, and then just be obedient to God from that point forward. Just wherever he has you, say yes. Like, I went from attending church every Sunday to then working in the kitchen to then doing things outside the kitchen to an internship, and now I'm here. And that all didn't happen at once. It was a lot of slow growing, a lot of grinding through things, and just leaning on Nate to mentor me through all that. So I'd say find a mentor of someone who's been in the faith 3+ years.
Mariah, what about you? If you were talking to Russell Brand and you were like, all right, here's some wisdom, what would you say?
I'd say, along with a mentor, I think that's great. That's what I was going to mention. But since you already mentioned that, I think the first thing really you should have a Bible, have a physical Bible, on your phone, whichever, but and be studying in that, and, using commentary, using other versions, multiple ways of how you're understanding and getting the word, because that's the main thing that you should be following, I think. So I think that should be the foundation of first step that you should do and look for as a new believer.
Get in the word. Yeah, I think that's good. What I'd also advise, and this is for anyone, find a good, healthy church.
Yeah.
No church is going to be perfect, but don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes I've talked with people, they're looking for the perfect church that gets all the doctrine right, that serves in every way. It checks off all the boxes. You're not going to find it, because the local church is full of people like you, which are imperfect. Right. And so when you have a gathering of imperfect people, they will do things imperfectly. And so just find a good church, one that's in the Word, where you can serve, get active, get involved, helping out church members, yes, then also serving in the community. And so a good church will try to do both of those things. And I guess with celebrity, one other thing I would say is online gets really nasty. And so you're going to have, unfortunately, a lot of people that call themselves Christ followers that will get really mean towards you. Mm-hmm. The Christians online will say the rudest things, just deeply disappointing. And so what I try to tell people about online stuff is that is not the real world. Get to know salt of the earth, down to earth, good people. And they're not going to be like that. They're not going to be rude, mean, nasty, and the rest of it. So just maybe get offline would be best. Get off the internet, get off the apps and all that. But anyways, looking to, I guess, celebrity conversions, we mentioned Kanye West. Mm-hmm. as he leaves the faith, he's already left it. We're not going to get into the answer of, was he ever a Christian?
Right.
Deep down, we have no way of knowing. He could come back. We don't know. Maybe he was never there. Again, we don't know. So we're not going to get into that question. But if people want to point to Kanye and to say, see, look at him, look at his life, all of that's fake. Why would I want to do that? What is, look at how he's living now, and it's really ugly. That's just how Christians are, because he made a big splash when he joined the faith. Mm-hmm. How would you respond to that?
I would point to Jesus, and I would say, I don't worship Kanye. Mm-hmm. I don't worship Kenneth Copeland. I don't worship Mike Winger. I don't worship any of these, whatever you think a Christian is. I worship Jesus. And I point to Jesus every single time because Jesus lived the life that I couldn't live. Kanye can't live the life that he can't save me. Mike Winger can't save me. Kenneth Copeland can't save me. Donald Trump can't save me. None of these people can save me. I point directly to Jesus because he is ultimately why I'm a Christian. Mm. Now, does that mean I'm going to be perfect in everything that I do? Absolutely not. But my love for Jesus trumps any kind of love that I have for any earthly figure. And because I love Jesus so much, I focus every day on living the best that I absolutely can for Jesus. And so my favorite quote is a Frank Turek quote. It's like, nobody gets mad at Mozart when they play Mozart wrong. But everybody wants to get mad at Jesus whenever we play Jesus wrong.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. Frank Turek has a lot of good points like that. Mm-hmm. I think that is a great thing to point out, that whenever people point to the hypocrisy of Christians, I always say exactly that's why we need Jesus.
Right.
And you do the same thing with Satan. When Satan wants to bring up your past, when he wants to bring up your failures, your flaws, your habits, the rest of it, the things that you're trying to change, you point him to Jesus and you say, I know I'm imperfect. I know I'm not going to get it right. But thank God our salvation does not depend on us, because if it did, we would lose it immediately. Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're fried.
We're cooked. We're cooked.
We are cooked. Stick a fork in it. And so we go to Jesus because ultimately we rest in his righteousness and his perfection and not our own. And so another thing I also want to point out about celebrity conversions, we need it because celebrities can reach celebrities. As much as I would like an audience with certain famous people, and much as I'd like to meet certain famous people, it's just not going to happen. I'm a normal, regular person.
Oh, never say never. You are pretty famous here in Coleman.
No, I'm not.
And you're pretty hip with pretty hip with the young audience.
No, I'm not.
I think Nate Williams in about 5 years, I'm going to be like, I was on a podcast with that guy. And he's like touring the world. He's pretty famous.
I bet, man, we used to have chats with him and talk now.
I know. I used to be able to call him. Now it just goes to voicemail. He blocked me.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
They know when you need my love.
Anyways, Drake is a whole nother topic. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I want Christians at every level of society because they can reach people where they are better than I can.
Right.
We need Christians in the warehouses and the restaurants and the schools and the businesses and the government and rich Christians, poor Christians, middle-class Christians. We need Christians everywhere in order to evangelize where they are. So Kanye and Russell Brand and others, you think of other famous Christians or former Christians, they can reach people that we can't. Mm. So don't look down on celebrity conversions. I know some of them are fake, some of them are foolish, sure, but ultimately we trust that God is moving and that he is reaching people that you and I can't reach. But anyways, those are just some thoughts that I had about celebrity conversions and how to view them, how to respond to them. Mariah, Blake, any other thoughts before we head off for today?
How would you deal with the idea that most how our world is like kind of marketing Jesus in like that celebrity atmosphere. Like it feels like a lot
You
of.
think that? I think the opposite. I think they
I
don't.
don't
market
know. I
Jesus
think it's becoming like a fad a little bit again. Like I've been hearing a lot of people just talking about Jesus, and maybe that's because like I don't know if that's like another sign that he's coming.
Yeah.
But I know he's coming.
So
but
you're saying Jesus is becoming a little like a fad.
like a fashion, like it's very marketable now. Like, and especially because a lot of people, I guess because our world is so crooked right now. And so Jesus is kind of becoming like, it's good. I feel I'm really optimistic about it. Like there's a lot of discussion about Jesus, especially in news and with celebrities and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm like, is this going to just turn into a marketability thing? Like, how do we handle, as Christians, how do we handle that Jesus being used as a marketing scheme? Should we be grateful? Should we uplift that? Because his name is being talked about in these places.
Mariah, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's one of those things, like, it could be helping people and even though we don't see it as that, just as like the celebrities reaching other celebrities. And like there has been some many positive things. Like I don't know if y'all have seen at I forget which university, but mass like baptisms, and like it was a revival at like
it's several universities.
Yeah. So a lot of good things like that are happening. Where maybe Jesus is the fad now, but maybe it is real to them. Like
I guess we could use Kanye when he released his gospel track. I'm sure I haven't listened to it, but if it's true to doctrine and theology, even though Kanye went off the rails, I'm sure there's a lot of people that helped. Yeah. And it grew their faith in some way. Yeah.
And the goal is anytime there's a movement, you also see this in the book of Acts. In Sunday school earlier today, we went over Acts chapter 8 and talking about Simon and the sorcerer. Anytime there's a genuine movement, you're going to have fakes. You're going to have frauds. You're going to have people that will try to capitalize off of it. But what you're hoping is that there is a core of changed lives that last beyond the moment. Because we all know we've been to concerts and maybe you've been to Christian conferences and you've had these spiritual high moments. Those are fine and good. Nothing's wrong with that. But in order for it to truly matter, the next morning when you wake up, is anything different?
Right.
Are you a changed person? So yes, I think you both make good points. There will be fakes and frauds, but hopefully there are people who are now different because of Jesus. But that is a good point. Maybe there are some fad aspects of it as well. I hope I said fad, F-A-D.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, you probably need to enunciate
that. Did I say fat aspects?
I love fat Jesus.
Anyways, so any other thoughts before we head off?
I don't think so.
Blake, do you want to take us home?
Tomorrow, you want to take us home? I always take us home.
That's your thing, though.
What could we talk about? Who's not here? Justin's not here to defend himself.
So how would we finish the episode?
Or we could do Chloe's beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. That's it. Because it's the robot.
We could do beep, boop, beep, beep, bop. We'll have to translate this for Chloe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or she'll translate it for us, you mean?
That's true. Beep, boop, beep, beep, bop. I think we just cut it there. Justin, you're beautiful. I miss you.
Popular kid. If they say you love him.
He was.
I was very popular.
I
was homeschooled.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
I had a phenomenal time. I played sports.
So he had some high school
experience.
So you were
involved.
I was very involved with the private school I played sports for.
You were involved with privates.
So yeah, you
Pause.
seem like a
Pause.
Seem like a homeschooler. That's why I'm like.
You have homeschool energy.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable. So I played sports and
you take
very
your mom to prom?
involved in church and stuff. And so I had a great social life that a lot of homeschoolers don't have for various reasons. So I enjoyed it. I felt like I got the best of school without going.
Why?
So I got a lot of public school, private school friends.
Yeah.
And I got to do the things. So, for instance, I had prom. I had just different parties and stuff. And obviously the sports, the games, the practices.
Yeah.
And then active in church. You had youth group and Sundays. And so between all of that, great times, a lot of good memories. But the nonsense that happened during the day, I wasn't there.
Oh, true.
And so I could skip all the class stuff. And then when people were having fun, I could jump in. And
So you got,
so it was nice.
Why is it that some homeschool kids are like so incredibly awkward?
I think because their parents don't let them do things, right?
Really? You think that's it?
Yeah. I've known homeschoolers who they have no social life. So they do their classes, their subjects, and then they're done. And that's it. That's rough.
Interesting.
And so I blame the parents in those scenarios. Get your kid active in sports, music, theater, church. If you do those kind of things, community engagement, you're good.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, because we have, like, I'm not going to say their names, but we got some kids in youth that are homeschooled. They're awesome. Like, you wouldn't even think they were homeschooled. And then I've met some homeschool kids that come and do theater with us, and it's like, dude, have you ever seen a YouTube video before? Like, have you ever talked to somebody?
And then it does matter the level of how sheltered they are.
Yeah.
So just different variations. But I would also argue you got some awkward public schoolers.
Oh, dude, 100%.
You got your
So
100%.
is it homeschooling or is it just there are odd people everywhere?
I think there's just odd people everywhere. I don't know. Because with homeschool, I don't know. We need to take a poll. Because Justin was one of those awkward kids.
I think it's definitely the parents' fault. I know some homeschoolers, they were like, I literally learned to read on my own. My mom didn't do anything. My parents didn't teach me anything. Like, I literally just had to do it all on my own. And I'm like...
I'd say cap. But
We have a term for those. They're called... what we call them is unschoolers, UN, unschoolers, where they're not, their parents took them out of public school, but put no effort into homeschooling.
Yeah.
So basically they're home all day, do what they want.
wow. What a life. I wish that was me.
Initially, it sounds great. You grow up and you don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know how to read.
No exposure, no basic skills,
That's
reading
rough.
and writing and
That is
math.
rough.
Knowledge of the world. And so in my brain, I don't count them.
Yeah.
I don't count them as homeschoolers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I know the right way of doing things.